What's up, guys? It's Benny. Good morning and a very happy morning to you. I have the best possible news to start your day off right. James Comey may well be going to prison. Seriously, we mean it this time. Here's what's happened. The term 86 is a cutesy little term that libs have been sneaking into their TV hits. This hit from Gretchen Whitmer on Meet the Press. Other social media posts that have gone viral, 8647. The term means to get rid of. It means in the culinary term to take a dish off the menu or to get rid of a customer. In the slang term, in the well understood sort of cultural dialectic, it means to kill someone, right? So to 86 someone means to murder, kill, or execute judicially. You take them 8 miles out of town, you put them 6 feet under an 8-foot-long coffin 6 feet in the ground. This is a well-known term. It's been used in culture, it's been used in music, it's been used in cinema. Now, the former FBI director, who's worked at the FBI for 30 years, you would assume he would understand what this well-known, well-tread, mafioso slang term means. But as the story goes, he just doesn't. He just found these random shells here. This is what James Comey posted, 8647. This was taken explicitly as a call to murder President Trump, especially as President Trump is in the Mideast, amongst regions that have been stricken by terrorism and a lot of enemies and foreign actors and so on. Donald Trump Jr. saying James Comey is casually calling for my dad to be murdered. Now, on our show, General Flynn has said that James Comey tried to have him killed, and they considered it. Okay, also, maybe James Comey is absolutely capable of these things. You'd have to assume that he is. I mean, this is a really serious threat. Assuming that there are so many federal agents that are currently around Donald Trump with firearms, right? How many Secret Service agents, how many FBI agents worked for Comey, know Comey, and have guns around Donald Trump? It's really scary when you think about it. And so James Comey saying that Donald Trump needs to be putting out a hit on Donald Trump needs to be taken extremely seriously. Now, all last night, everybody was posting this and saying, what is going on here? And tagging Kash Patel and Dan Bongino. How would they charge James Comey were they to charge James Comey? Well, 18 U.S. Code 871 says that threats against the president, any post against the president that threatens his life, shall be fined under this title and imprisoned not more than 5 years or both. Also millions of dollars in fines potentially. So you could absolutely charge him with threatening Donald Trump. And that's why James Comey, in a total panic, posted this, saying, oh, I was just taking a walk on the beach and I found some shells. I didn't realize it was an explicit call to violence, even though libs have been posting this call to violence for a very long time, to 8647. Everyone knows what that means. Secret Service is now investigating James Comey, according to FBI Director Patel, who says we're aware of the recent social media post by Director James Comey directed at President Trump. We are in communication with the Secret Service, and Director Curran, primary jurisdiction, is with the Secret Service on these matters, so the FBI will provide all necessary support. The head of the Secret Service, who's actually Kristi Noem, Secret Service is under DHS, says disgraced former FBI Director Comey just called for the assassination of Trump. DHS and Secret Service is investigating the threat and will respond accordingly. Former Secret Service agents have gone ballistic on James Comey, saying, yeah, he probably also found Sasquatch and the abominable snowman while he was walking, and saying that James Comey has been a problem since day one, okay? Senators, congressmen, everybody calling for James Comey to be criminally prosecuted, and now finally we get Donald Trump leveling the boom.
What that meant. A child knows what that meant. If you're the FBI director and you don't know what that meant assassination. And it says it loud and clear. Now, he wasn't very competent, but he was competent enough to know what that meant. And he did it for a reason, and he was hit so hard. Because people like me, and they like what's happening with our country. Our country has become respected again, and all this. And he's calling for the assassination of the president.
Obviously, he apologized and said he doesn't.
Well, he
wasn't
apologized
calling for violence. But
look, he's a very bad.
What do you want to see happen?
What
do you want to see happen?
I don't want to take a position on it because that's going to be up to Pam and all of the great people. But I will say this: I think it's a terrible thing, and when you add his history to that, if he had a clean history, he doesn't. He's a dirty cop. He's a dirty cop. And if he had a clean history, I could understand if there was a leniency. But I'm going to let them make that decision.
Okay, so he's leaving it up to Pam Bondi, but he's saying James Comey's a dirty cop, and he knew exactly what he was saying. It meant assassination. He's calling for the assassination of a president. Again, Donald Trump. It's a miracle that Trump's with us at all right now. It's a miracle that Trump is here. Trump survived multiple assassinations that we know about. Of course, was shot in the face in what was meant to be a live on TV, on-air execution. Who knows what James Comey had a part in that? We still don't know. We know nothing about that shooting. It's time to come clean. And the director of national intelligence, who actually sits over all of these intelligence agencies, is really the one who is dropping the absolute pain on James Comey here. Tulsi Gabbard, who is a massive fan of Donald Trump, who's working great in the administration, who's doing an excellent job cleaning house at the intel agencies, just went scorched earth last night. Here's what she said, and I'm going to play you her full interview. We never do this, but you have got to hear everything that Tulsi says, because Tulsi says straight up, James Comey belongs in prison. James Comey must be in prison. James Comey just issued a call to action to murder the president of the United States. As a former FBI director, and as somebody who spent most of his career prosecuting mobsters and gangsters, he knew exactly what he was doing. He needs to be held accountable under the full force of the law. We fully support the Secret Service investigation into James Comey on the president's life. Tulsi Gabbard in this interview straight up calls for James Comey to be put in prison. And more importantly, Tulsi Gabbard has executed on this. A man who threatened Tulsi Gabbard is currently in prison with zero possibility of ever getting out, right? So she's done this before, okay? So this is going to be hammer time for Tulsi Gabbard. This is right now. This is absolutely happening. This is big, big trouble for James Comey. Tulsi Gabbard doesn't play. Have a listen. This is a brutal interview for James Comey, and he should be backtracking and lawyering up hard. Pay attention. Tulsi Gabbard says James Comey will be in prison. I believe Tulsi. Here we go.
Tulsi Gabbard's the director of national intelligence. Are you buying that the former FBI director didn't know what 86 Trump meant?
Absolutely not, Jesse. That is a ridiculous and insane statement to make, certainly within this context, but especially coming from a guy who's the former director of the FBI, a guy who spent most of his career prosecuting mobsters and gangsters, people who know and execute other humans and use this exact lingo of 86. Comey himself admitted in his follow-on message that he knew that this was a political statement. Well, the only reason he knew that, Jesse, was because a little over a month ago, a bunch of anti-Trump, anti-Elon Musk protesters were proliferating the use of this 8647 slogan, which was a veiled call to action to murder the sitting president of the United States. So for Comey to think that we, the American people, are so stupid as to think that he, as a former FBI director, former prosecutor, and someone who clearly pays attention to what's going on, would believe his lie that he didn't know what this actually was calling for, the dangerousness of this, Jesse, cannot be underestimated. When we have 2 assassination attempts on the president's life, when we have people who look to guys like Comey, who've been celebrated by MSNBC and the Democrat elite and CNN as the beacon of integrity, the law and order guy, the guy who would tell the truth no matter what the consequences, this is the guy who's issuing a hit on President Trump, the president that the American people voted for. So it's guys like Comey and others who call the president the modern-day Nazi, people who are in great positions of influence, who are saying that President Trump poses an existential threat to our country. These are people who hate democracy and hate the American people because they cannot stand that the people overwhelmingly chose to elect Donald Trump and send him back to the White House. So they are seeking other means to get their way and to try to remove him from that position.
How serious is the administration taking this, and what are the next steps going to be?
We're taking this very seriously. As you mentioned, the Department of Homeland Security, and specifically Sean Curran, the current Secret Service director, a man who has been willing to lay down his life as the lead of President Trump's Secret Service detail for years now. He takes this seriously and is leading the investigation into this threat. There has to be accountability for this. There was a Rutgers study that just came out a little over a month ago, Jesse, that asked respondents their view on these calls to assassinate President Trump. And over 55% of respondents felt that murdering President Trump would be, quote unquote, somewhat justified. This is the effect of people like James Comey doing this kind of stuff. This study also pointed out that there is a quote unquote assassination culture that is starting to take over the views of what they call the extreme left. We, the American people, cannot take this lightly. Whatever your politics, we cannot allow people to get by without being held accountable for this kind of public call to assassinate the President of the United States.
Do you believe that Comey is goading you guys to come after him because he wants to be a political martyr? He wants to be set up so he can say, oh, look, we were right. Donald Trump is a dictator. They're coming after me. They're arresting me. They're interrogating me. I was just using my free speech.
You know, whatever his intent, I will tell you that there is a guy in Georgia who was issuing threats on my life about a month ago, and he's in jail today. He has been indicted with a crime, as he should have been, and he is in jail as we speak. So whatever James Comey intent, he and people like him need to be held to account according to the law, which is something that he claims to have given his life for and stands by the rule of law. Fantastic. The rule of law says people like him who issue direct threats against the President of the United States, essentially issuing a call to assassinate him, must be held accountable under the law.
Do you believe Comey should be in jail?
I do. Any other person with the position of influence that he has, people who take very seriously what a guy of his stature, his experience, and what the propaganda media has built him up to be, I'm very concerned for the president's life. We've already seen assassination attempts. I'm very concerned for his life. And James Comey, in my view, should be held accountable and put behind bars for this.
Director Gabbard, thank you so much.